Good evening. My name is Ben11, and today we're going to be doing a tier list of the album GNX by Kendrick Lamar, which just came out. I was really excited about this album because it just came out after a few singles that I really liked from him. I really liked his last album, Mr. Morale. I liked that a lot. So I was super excited to see whether or not these songs would line up super well. So yeah, let's get into it.
Yesterday somebody whacked out my mural.
Starting with Whacked Out Murals. As far as intros go, I like the song, but he's done a lot better. I feel like this is probably his weakest intro because he usually does them pretty well. This reminds me a lot of the intro on Mr. Morale, United in Grief. Both of them are just bringing us up to speed with where his mind is at, all the things he's thinking about, things he's struggling with. And again, it's not bad, but I would say United in Grief definitely does a better job of it. That song is like super interesting throughout the whole thing. I think this one can get a little boring. It's like over 5 minutes. So it's not bad, but for a Kendrick song, it's kind of boring. I'll put it in D tier.
Woke up looking for the broccoli. Hot key, keep a horn on me, that could my seat.
Okay, so Squabble Up, at this point in the album, you can kind of tell where he's going to go with this whole mixtape. It's not really meant to be conceptual. It's really just a bunch of loose songs gathered together that kind of have a little bit of a sonic theme going on with this really interesting production, and we really see it here. Like, this song is such an interesting blend of like hip hop and like futuristic pop. Like, the instrumental sounds like a trap mix of something off like a Charlie XCX album, but in a really good way. Like, it's great. It's a total party. I love it. I think it's great. I'd probably put it either low S tier or high A tier. I'll put it in the S tier for now, but it could go either one. Luther. This song is pretty interesting. It grew on me a lot since my first listen. I didn't really like it on my first listen. I thought it was kind of boring. But after a few listens, I can tell that the vocal chemistry between Kendrick and SZA is really nice. The production is crisp. The melodies are really nice and warm. It's a super easy listen. My big problem with it is I do wish the instrumental did a little bit more. Like, he's being really experimental on these instrumentals for the most part, but not really as much on this one. And so for that reason, I would probably put it a high B tier, probably. Yeah, Luther is high B tier, maybe low A tier. It's a great song.
I deserve it all. Keep my name by the world leaders. Keep my crowds loud inside a beast. I deserve it all. More money, more power, more freedom. Everything heaven allowed us.
Man at the Garden. This one's pretty good. I really like the refrain of I deserve it all. Like, that's such a Kendrick thing to say. So I really like that refrain. I think all the writing is pretty slick. Overall, really good song. I do have one big problem with it, though, and it's that I don't really understand why he needed to make this song in the first place. Like, he talks about deserving it all, and that's kind of what the whole song is about, is he's done all these great things. He deserves it all. He does. Like, I get it, but no one's disagreeing with you. Like, I feel like I haven't heard people who think that Kendrick is overrated, and I've heard a lot of people talk about him. Like, I don't know. It just feels kind of, I don't know. I just don't really get the point of what he's going for. I don't know. Maybe I'm missing the point. Because of that, I'd probably put it like C tier. It's still good, but not like anything super crazy.
Hey now, say now. Hey now, say now, mother by my yin. Big face Buddha, get my peace from within.
Hey Now is kind of a deep cut for me. I feel like it's definitely not going to be as popular as a lot of these other songs, even though I really like it. I think it has a really subtle progression going on. Like, the first minute or so is super kind of bare. Like, there's not a ton going on. It's still interesting, but eventually it just slowly morphs into like a full, complete feeling somehow. I don't know. I really like it. I think the production is nice. The performances are really good, and it adds to the cohesion of the album's sound really well. So yeah, I really like it. I'd give it like Another high B tier. I'll put it right behind Luther though.
Can you promise that you won't take your gifts for granted? I promise that I use my gifts to bring understanding.
Okay, there's a lot to break down with Reincarnated. It's a great song. I love the storyline. He talks about two artists from the past who ended up becoming really successful. They were really talented, but they ended up contributing to their own demise due to their like mental state and them just being really flawed people. And in the last about half, it turns to him, and it's Kendrick talking to God and having a conversation with him about his flaws and how he wants to be better. The final verse reminds me a lot of You on To Pimp a Butterfly, where he really like internalizes how flawed of a person he is, and he like questions whether or not he's a good person. So I think that's really interesting, like super interesting premise here. Let's see. Another cool thing about this this second half with Kendrick talking about himself is he references Isaiah 14, which is a Bible chapter talking about a Babylonian king who's evil and gets overthrown. And you can totally tell that how that correlates to what he's talking about here, because right now he is like a quote-unquote king, and he doesn't want to be overthrown, and he just wants to peacefully stay where he's at. So I really like that. Every time Kendrick includes a Bible verse, it's always something really interesting. There are a few things that I don't love about this song. I think the pacing with Kendrick's verse, like the narrative pacing, is just so unexpectedly rushed for what he's used to. Like, I would probably divide his verse into like 3 sections. The first one is God telling him all of his flaws. The second one is him kind of internalizing that and thinking about that. And then the third is him basically just promising to be better. And I like the progression isn't that quick in real life if something like this were to happen, or if it happened to him. It just shouldn't be that fast. Like, again, this reminds me of the progression on To Pimp a Butterfly. It took him a whole album to get better. And like at one point, God's telling him everything he's doing wrong that he didn't even realize. And then literally 45 seconds later in the song, God says, "Do you promise to be a good boy?" And Kendrick says, "Yes." And then it's a happy ending. So I think it would have been better if it stayed kind of ambiguous towards the end, so we could kind of have a little bit to mull over as to how the outcome could be. So yeah, I don't know. Still a great song though. I would probably put it in like, again, high A to low S. So like, is it better than Squabble Up? Probably. Yeah, it's probably better than Squabble Up. It's pretty great. TV Off. I love this one so much. It has that signature, again, modern Kendrick, like weird pop sound that just sounds really great. It's got great energy. The beat switch is really funny where he yells mustard. Like, that's great. I feel like it's really easy to see what's so great about this song. However, getting to this point on the album where I'm really like thinking about what I do and don't like about these songs, I'm starting to realize a lot of the themes on this album are reminding me of songs that he's already made before. Like the intro song reminds me of United in Grief, and Reincarnated reminded me of You from To Pimp a Butterfly and kind of To Pimp a Butterfly's whole idea. And this one reminds me of N95 from Mr. Morale when it comes to the lyrical themes of people being fake and hiding behind their egos and stuff like that. And that kind of bugs me. Like, I've never had that issue before where I feel like he's rehashing old topics and not really adding much to them, but I feel like I'm getting that a lot here. I would say especially with this song, N95 does a better job at exploring the themes. Like, the lyrics are better on that song, but I would say I do like the production more on this song, so I'll give it that. Still a really good song. I like it a lot. Probably another high B tier. I'd probably put it above Luther and Hey Now.
You hate LA when you don't travel past the 10. Am I tripping? Yes, I am. Meditate over some money. I see Franklin, I find Van.
Okay, I don't know what people are thinking or saying about this one online, but I personally think it's a huge dud. I kind of hate it. I think it's probably Kendrick's worst song. Uh, yeah, it's not that great. I think the beat is boring. I think Kendrick sounds like he's on the verge of falling asleep. I think the features aren't that great. Like, there's a feature that comes in like the second verse that just comes in so awkwardly, and I don't know, it just sounds like nobody really wants to be there. The beat, again, is forgettable. The whole song is just so forgettable. Like, I don't remember what it sounds like. I couldn't tell you a single aspect of this song I remember. It's definitely an F tier. Easily the worst song here.
What they talking about? They ain't talking about nothing. What they talking about? They ain't talking about nothing. What they talking about? They ain't talking about nothing. What they talking about? They ain't talking about nothing.
Alright, Peekaboo. This song makes me laugh out loud every time I hear it. It's just so silly. I don't know. It's like the only Kendrick song I would classify as silly. The bars aren't trying to be serious. He's not trying to really say anything. He's just having a good time, and I'm here for it. I think it's really funny. It's infectious. I love how his vocals are super deadpan and like emotionless, but you can still like tell that it's an inspired song and he wants to do it just because of how funny his bars are and how funny the beat is. Yeah, it's just like a weird blend of I don't know, a bunch of good stuff. It's not trying to do much, but what it does pretty well. I would put it probably B tier behind all these.
Load up the Pro Tools and press 3. Studio filled with Jack in the Box and Pepsis.
All right, The Heart Part 6. This song is all about Kendrick's experience and progression in the rap game, all the people he's met, all the decisions he's made, and stuff like that, and things he's learned from it, which is a really cool premise. I will say it doesn't really grab me that much. Like, I find it hard to like get emotionally invested into what's going on just because he's going so quickly through it, and he's mentioning a bunch of names that I don't really know. And so he kind of loses me a little bit. But outside of that, I think the chorus is okay. It's decent. The instrumental is great. I love the instrumental. But I know a lot of people really like this song. I don't know. It doesn't do a ton for me. I still really like it. I think it's still really great. But it's not quite like amazing for me. I do like that it's a kind of a cautionary tale. It has a lot of themes about like the hook says, using your heart and not your eyes to make decisions. So yeah, I still really enjoyed it. I'd probably give it like a low A tier, but it's not my favorite. I don't love it to death.
Who showed you how to run a blitz? Tell 'em Peso did. Who put the West back in front of shit? Tell 'em Peso did. Hey, I'm tripping and I'm loving it.
GNX is a pretty good feature to this album. It has a lot of great energy from Kendrick and all the featuring rappers on there. It's a solid rap cut. However, I would say it's probably one of the most boring instrumentals on the album. It kind of mostly just sounds like a regular instrumental outside of the kind of goofy drums. But still, yeah, it's just like a good rap song, but the bar is pretty high here, and so I kind of expected a lot from all these songs. So there's nothing wrong with it. I just don't love it. Also, like Reincarnated, I think this song ended a little bit too abruptly, and another thing, I think the last like third of the song, the progression gets a little boring. Like, it feels like it should be building up to something and then it never does, which is a little annoying. So I'd probably put it in like C tier. It's not, again, there's nothing really bad about it. It's just not bringing a ton to the table.
Whenever you want me, you got me to the end of time.
Okay, Gloria is a pretty solid closer. It's a super simple love song. It has SZA on the chorus again, and she kills it again. It's really great. Not much to say about it outside of that. It's just really easy on the ears and sounds really nice. I'd probably give it like a low A tier, probably. Yeah, I would say I like it a little bit more than Heart Part 6. But yeah, really great. Overall, I'd probably give this album probably in like the mid to high 80s. I thought it was pretty good. I really enjoyed it. Mainly like the super distinct, crisp, like modern sound of these beats. That again, like reminds me of Charlie XCX for some reason. I don't know if she produced any of these or anything, but yeah, really great production. Kendrick had some great energy. They're super fun and infectious for the most part. This album definitely wasn't as conceptual as any of his past albums, but I don't really mind because it's trying to be simple, and so yeah, it's just a mixtape, and it's pretty nice. All the songs are pretty solid. So yeah, let me know what you guys think. I'll be reading all the comments, and yeah, just let me know if you disagreed with any of these takes, because I don't know really what most people are saying about this online. So yeah, boy.